social media. He was a rapper in LA. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. She came back to our school, kind of told people this story. She disappeared again in May of that year, May of 2024. That's when her friends told me what happened, that it was this rapper, that they were like blackmailing him, all of this stuff.
LAPD spend hours in this well-to-do Bird Streets neighborhood, are rattled by everything that's happened here.
It's scary to think that this is happening, and this is a beautiful neighborhood, very nice, beautiful, expensive homes. And
home a few times. She was last reported.
That's controversial.
It's controversial of kids.
Really good.
Okay,
it's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
Attorneys for the singer say that he continues to cooperate with the investigation. While authorities haven't publicly said that he is a suspect, that hasn't stopped some people from jumping to their own conclusions. Some eagle-eyed fans pointed to David's previous songs as some kind of clues or messages, like Romantic Homicide, for example. His lyrics include, "In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it."
Alright, what's up with it, y'all? So look, man, I'm back again with another video right now. Listen, this situation right here, it is crazy as hell, and it's one video that a couple of people have been asking me to do, you know, consistently, back to back to back. But y'all already know I don't be in a rush to post these videos, and also it's so much information coming out, and I want to give y'all everything, you know, to the best of my abilities, right? But basically, before we move forward, I got to start it out by saying RIP to the beautiful young lady by the name of Celeste. She was 15 years old when she lost her life, allegedly. And I'm only saying that because she has been missing for over a year, but we're going to get into all of that in just a second. Now, you know, I want to say RIP to her, and I want to send my condolences out to everybody out there that had a genuine love for her, especially her mother and her sister. Okay, so with all this being said, she was dealing with a music artist by the name of David. Now, I just not heard about him when this happened, but you know, he's pretty big now that I have did some research on the dude, right? And basically, you know, and this is for those who don't know what the hell is going on, or just want to hear my thoughts and opinions and just want to listen to the video, you know what I'm saying? But basically, you know, David was, I can't even say it's a relationship, but they were in a so-called relationship since she was 12 years old, and he's in his 20s right now. But basically, you know, they ended up meeting online. They ended up, you know, developing some type of feelings for each other. He manipulated her, and he also groomed her, in my personal opinion. But ultimately, you know, they got into a relationship, whatever, a so-called relationship, and she has been missing since 2024. And you know, with that being said, the mother said that she had a boyfriend by the name of David once they found her body. But I'm guessing that she didn't put two and two together, or just didn't know what was going on, because a lot of things that they did was online, and I'm pretty sure that they didn't keep up with everything. But that's just my personal thoughts and opinions. It could be other things that's going on, but I gotta, you know, give it the benefit of the doubt. But basically, they ended up finding her body in a Tesla. And come to find out, the body that was in the Tesla was her body. And now there is some, you know, people saying that he was in a relationship with two Celeste, right? And he wasn't talking about her. And I'm saying that because he has multiple songs talking about Celeste. He has one called Celeste as well. I think it's unreleased. I got a lot of the other information that I'm not speaking on right now in the rest of the video, but this is just like a brief synopsis and some of the new updates. So yeah, he has unreleased songs that have been, you know, leaked, and he's basically talking about her. You know, it's a whole song about Celeste, and people are saying it could be the other Celeste. No, he was with this girl right here. They had matching tattoos. I mean, she was in a lot of different photos and videos that they had together. It was just a weird situation in my personal opinion, you know what I'm saying? Especially knowing her age. But when you look at him and you look him up and stuff like that and hear him speak, you can tell he was a weird fucker, you know what I'm saying? Now, they can't basically place it on him from what I'm hearing and seeing so far, because they are alleging that he was on tour or he was away. But, you know, it's just too coincidental for her to lose her life the way that she lost her life without him playing some type of role. Now, I'm not trying to put nothing on the boy because we really just don't know, but it just looked like it. And, you know, 1 + 1 = 2, you feel me? But, you know, they have multiple videos of him doing weird ass shit, you know what I'm saying? He got a video cleaning some shoes, and they looked like her shoes that he was cleaning. I think I'm gonna post a picture right here. If I don't, y'all forgive me, but You know, like I said, the matching tattoos. It's a lot of different things that was leading up to people believing that it was him. But basically, you know, right now, he's not being named as a suspect, but that's simply because they don't want to tarnish the case or make him run off or nothing like that. But they did raise some homes of people that he was associated with. I'm tripping. And they took some evidence from there, and they took some computers and everything like that. And like I told y'all, they met online. So they started dissecting the internet, looking at everything, and basically just seeing that he has been in communication with her. And I'm pretty sure, you know, a lot of different things that they found were basically, you know, on different computers everywhere, so they just collecting everything.
The body found inside the trunk of an abandoned Tesla registered to the singer David has been identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas. The teen was reported a runaway and missing out of Lake Elsinore nearly a year and a half ago. Tonight, a house close to where that Tesla was abandoned was searched. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Caputo is there live now in Hollywood with more. Tim.
And Mark, those CSI investigators literally just left the scene about 10-15 minutes ago. The police tape finally came off and we were able to come a little bit closer to this house. Now, we don't know at this point what exactly those detectives were looking for, what they got out of that house. We saw them pull evidence and put it into an SUV, essentially where I'm standing right now. We don't even know why they were here in the first place, but this house just happens to be literally feet away from where that Tesla was found. A dozen LAPD investigators took a computer and other items from this Hollywood home just a block away from where an abandoned Tesla was found with a teenager in the trunk. Police spent hours at the home on Dehaney Place, placing several evidence bags into an SUV, but they wouldn't say if or how it was connected to the Tesla. Several homeowners say they remember seeing that distinct Tesla for a while. First parked in front of the house police searched today, then at two different spots on the street.
It's a little weird to see a car that I haven't seen here for a long time. Had a big dent on it, had a Texas plate on it. So all a little odd, but at the same time, you know, people could be hanging out with friends for, you know, prolonged time.
That abandoned Tesla was towed earlier this month, and workers at a Hollywood tow yard noticed a foul odor and found exposed human remains wrapped in a garbage bag inside the car. We now know the young woman found dead was 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, according to the medical examiner, the same teen who was reported missing from Lake Elsinore last year. At a corner store in town, the owner recalled her coming in often.
She always quiet, nice. She come in like if she buy like a chips, soda, and leave. Sometimes she come with a friend from the neighborhood.
Eyewitness News has learned Rivas had run away from home a few times. She was last reported missing in spring of 2024. Those who knew Rivas, who just turned 15 a week and a half ago, say she was bubbly and sweet.
She just seemed very lively and friendly, a typical teenager.
The medical examiner hasn't determined her cause of death, but part of the police investigation will be speaking to the owner of that Tesla, a musician who goes by David. His real name, David Anthony Burke, from Houston, Texas. David, made popular via social media for the songs Romantic Homicide and Here With Me, began the American leg of his world tour on July 30th and has continued performing since the investigation began. Tonight's show, though, in Seattle was canceled. The medical examiner also trying to determine how long Rivas had been, but based on the condition of the body, it might have been a while. Those who saw the Tesla this summer and watched LAPD spend hours in this well-to-do Bird Streets neighborhood are rattled by everything that's happened here.
It's scary to think that this is happening. And this is a beautiful neighborhood, very nice, beautiful, expensive homes. And
home a few times. She was last reported.
We would think that we should be safer.
Interesting note, the home here behind me that detectives have been focused on the better part of today has 2 cameras above the garage as well as a ring camera. In fact, this entire neighborhood has pretty extensive security system, with many of the homes having several cameras. We do know from a couple neighbors I spoke with earlier that police were here last week asking to review or see some of the security camera footage. We don't know if they got anything, if it's helped the case. As to this point, LAPD has been extremely tight-lipped about this entire investigation. We're live tonight in Hollywood. Tim Caputo, ABC.
I can't see you. Hold up. That's her in my classroom in front of this poster right here. Okay, hold up. I got another one because I got a picture on TMZ of this other kid exchanging stuff with the rapper who we alleged did this stuff. Hold on a second, because he's also in my classroom.
Wait, how long ago was this?
We all just found out yesterday who it was, but she's been missing since I taught her. So when I taught her, she met this dude on social media. He was a rapper in LA. He came and got her. She ran away from home. She was gone for like a month. The cops found her in Hollywood, brought her back to our school. She came back to our school, kind of told people this story. She disappeared again in May of that year, May of 2024. That's when her friends told me what happened, that it was this rapper, that they were like blackmailing him, all of this stuff. And then I found out yesterday that she's now dead in that rapper's car, cut into pieces. You want to know how they met? I feel like I just said it. Social media. Let me tell you another story. Hold on.
But I have a news video right here. It's kind of an update, but after this immediately it's another synopsis, right? But they're gonna get into it and give you bona fide facts from legal experts and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and get into it.
Questions pile up after a body was found in the front trunk of an impounded Tesla this month. The body was identified as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas, who'd been missing for more than a year. TMZ says detectives searched the home of the Tesla's registered owner, the R&B singer David.
Now questions remain about why the Tesla was abandoned, how the missing girl was killed, and who put her in that trunk. Alina Bobian live in the Hollywood Hills with the latest on the investigation. Alina.
Hi, Mike and Cher. That's right. We are learning some new details, including the home right here behind me being searched. But unfortunately, despite knowing all this, we still do not know the connection of the home, the Tesla, the singer, all to the disappearance of the 15-year-old girl. A search warrant was executed at this Hollywood Hills home, the 1300 block of Doheny Place, a rental property where singer David may have been staying. LAPD detectives searched the home late Wednesday night, carrying out a laptop and other items. According to TMZ, the department's Scientific Investigation Division went in for 12 hours using luminol to look for trace amounts of blood.
It's terrible. It's just like how something like this can happen in this neighborhood.
The home is linked to the 20-year-old rising star, and so is the Tesla where the girl's dismembered body was discovered. Neighbors say it was parked out front for months before someone moved it down a few streets to Bluebird Avenue. That's where it was eventually reported abandoned and towed away to an impound lot. Days later, someone called police to report a foul odor, and investigators found the body in the front trunk.
I saw the car here a couple times, and just was odd that it was parked, just like look, it was abandoned.
The Tesla is registered to the singer whose real name is David Anthony Burke. He rose to fame as a YouTube creator before releasing the 2022 song Romantic Homicide and several others. David has yet to publicly comment on the ordeal. In the midst of the investigation, he canceled one of his scheduled tour stops and is believed to be back in LA cooperating with police.
Even though they've searched his house, even though they have the car in custody, they don't have enough information to tie him to this incident
as of now, basically. Shit, but I want to say this right here. They were in a Tesla, so if the Tesla had some battery, had some juice, it was recording everything. You could turn off the Sentry mode and things like that. And for those who don't know what that is, it's basically where you let the car record incidences or basically what's going on around the vehicle. But I still believe in my heart that they still be recording. It's just how I feel. But you know, he also had some merchandise that was, you know, with bloody clothes, and he just removed those as well. He canceled his full tour and things like that. But you know, why would you? It's like he's leaving so many subliminals out there for people to ponder on. But in his songs and shit, he was saying a lot of stuff. I don't know if I played that in the beginning, but y'all heard him. If I did or if I didn't, I'll put it right here. But I'm pretty sure I already done played it. But yeah, he was saying some weird ass shit, like, you know what I'm saying, talking about she was already dead. You know, basically just speaking ahead of time, but hypothetically speaking at the same time. But let's get back into it though.
The LA County Medical Examiner's Office identified the victim as 15-year-old Celeste Hernandez. She was reported missing from Lake Elsinore back in April of 2024 when she was just 13 years old. It's unclear exactly how she died, but it's noted the teen's body was severely decomposed. Additionally, the victim had a tattoo on her right index finger that spelled out shh. Photos also show the singer with a similar tattoo on his finger.
They are taking their time to make sure that they are fully investigating this case before they implicate somebody who could potentially be very innocent and a victim of a crime that somebody else committed.
Now, LAPD detectives, they did search the house yesterday, but so far they have not released any new information regarding a suspect. They're still also not calling this a homicide. I'm Lena Bourbon here in the Hollywood Hills, KTLA 5 News.
Alina, thank you.
Details just released.
And you know, they saying that they can't put him involved with this as of now. Like I said before, it's probably because he was allegedly on tour or something like that, but I'm pretty sure they got something on his ass, or they got something on somebody around him. They also have videos of her and his brother running out of the back room or something like that too as well. But this is another brief synopsis with a couple of details I didn't mention to y'all, so let's get into it.
About the identity of the person found wrapped in plastic discovered in the trunk of a singer's car. We're breaking down the latest and where the investigation stands now, as the singer's rep maintains that he's fully cooperating with the investigation.
You got no charge.
Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Investigators say the remains were of a 15-year-old girl who was reported missing last year. But even with this new lead at this time, police are keeping tight-lipped if they have a suspect or a person of interest. Earlier this month, employees at a tow yard in Hollywood noticed a strong odor coming from one of the cars. The smell was so strong and foul, they had no choice but to call police. When officers arrived, that's when the startling discovery was made. A body was wrapped in plastic and dumped in the vehicle's trunk. When investigators dug into who that car belonged to, they learned it was registered to the singer David, whose real name is David Anthony Burke. Officials say that the car was towed from the Hollywood Hills after someone reported it missing. Investigators believe that the body was put in the trunk about 5 days before it was towed to the impound lot. Now, initially, we didn't know much, including who was the victim. Did the victim have ties to the singer? Was the singer a person of interest or a suspect? We're still waiting to learn more, but now investigators reportedly identified who the victim is. We're learning this week that the Los Angeles County Department of Medical Examiner ID'd the victim as a 15-year-old girl named Celeste Rivas. According to LAPD, the victim was 5'2", had wavy hair, and a tattoo on her right index finger that says shh. She was found wearing a tube top, black leggings, an earring, and a yellow metal chain bracelet. According to a report by TMZ, though, the singer David also had that exact same tattoo on his right index finger. But that doesn't necessarily equal murder suspect. It might be an odd coincidence, especially with other celebs like Lindsay Lohan, Rihanna, and Lily Allen sporting the same tat. Here's what else we know about 15-year-old Celeste. Her mom told local reporters she had been missing for more than a year. Her mom said when she saw the news of the body found in David's Tesla, it was suspicious to her because her daughter's boyfriend's name was also David. Little is known at this time about the events leading up to Celeste going missing. According to a missing poster, she was last seen on April 5th of 2024 in Lake Elsinore, California. That was when she was 13 years old. She was last seen wearing gray pants, a black sweater, hat, and Hello Kitty sandals. Attorneys for the singer say that he continues to cooperate with the investigation. While authorities haven't publicly said that he is a suspect, that hasn't stopped some people from jumping to their own conclusions. Some eagle-eyed fans pointed to David's previous songs as some kind of clues or messages. A romantic homicide, for example. His lyrics include, "In the back of my mind, I killed you, and I didn't even regret it. I can't believe I said it, but it's true. I hate you." Now, that song was released in 2022, 2 years before Celeste went missing and 3 years before her body was discovered. But again, it didn't stop some people from speculating. Then, in another report from TMZ released Wednesday, the singer professed his love to someone named Celeste in an unreleased song. According to the report, those unreleased tracks included the lyrics, "Oh Celeste, the girl with my name tattooed on her chest. Smell her clothes like cigarettes. I hear her voice each time I take a breath.
He
I'm
obsessed."
obsessed." The other verse included the lyrics, "Oh Celeste, afraid you'll only love me when undressed, but you look so damn gorgeous in that dress. Missing you so much makes me depressed, but I digress because." Now, according to the report, that song was leaked in December of 2023, just months before Celeste was officially reported missing. And it's important to note, no official confirmation Celeste in the leaked song is the same Celeste found in the car. Companies Crocs and Hollister pulled their marketing campaigns after Celeste's body was discovered too. In a joint statement, the brands wrote, "We are aware of this developing story. With respect to the current situation, we have removed campaign content featuring David while the investigation continues." According to a previous report by TMZ, it was police who told David that there was a body inside his Tesla because he had no idea what was going on. But it's still unclear how the car registered to him ended up in a tow lot if it wasn't even reported missing. Again, the singer's rep says that he has been cooperating, but we learned today he's pausing his current world tour. According to TMZ, he was supposed to hit the stage in Seattle for a concert, but sources tell the outlet that concert was canceled and the rest of his tour is on pause. Following the latest in the investigation, ABC 7 Eyewitness News reports a house close to where the Tesla was abandoned was searched. Dozens of investigators were reportedly seen taking a computer and other items from a home in Hollywood. Some homeowners told the news outlet they remembered seeing that Tesla for a while, either parked at the house where police conducted their search or at other spots on the same street. But as of this recording, he isn't named as a suspect, and no criminal charges have been filed against him. So the mystery and investigation continues. I'm joined now by retired FBI agent Colin Schmidt. Colin, thank you so much for joining me. What's your reaction to this latest development as the medical examiner says that the body found in the trunk was a 15-year-old girl?
Well, it looks like it's a terrible, terrible tragedy for that 15-year-old girl's family. Is obviously the victim. And then the fact that she was found in a trunk, it indicates that there's some level of foul play with this, and it's only going to get more interesting and probably more tragic as the story comes out.
And I think probably, the biggest part of this story is that the car that the victim was found in was registered to a very popular singer. And we know that the singer is cooperating with the investigation, and officials haven't named him as a suspect or a person of interest. But in your opinion, with the information that we know now, do you think that he has anything to do with it?
Well, the problem is for whoever did this, a Tesla is nothing more than a rolling supercomputer. Mm-hmm. So it's going to have all kinds of information in there when they get and when the engineers get in and get all the data. So I'm confident they're going to know exactly what happened in a very short period of time. And then the fact that there's such a close connection between the decedent and this rapper, it's only going to get more interesting, like I said, as far as what really happened.
And it's interesting, too, kind of the circumstances as we're learning more, because the victim's mom even told police that she got suspicious it was her daughter because her daughter also had a boyfriend named David. Do you think that that's just a terrible coincidence? And also, we're learning that they both had this tattoo on their index finger with the letters "sh" written on it, kind of similar to a lot of other celebrities, especially kind of in the millennial era, who also had that same tattoo. But do you think this is all just a terrible coincidence?
Well, unfortunately, in violent crime, there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's a coincidence is actual circumstantial evidence. Mm. So all these data points are starting to point towards this rapper. We don't know what his role was, and if indeed he did have anything to do with it. But it does appear that there's some sort of culpability that this rapper is going to have with this girl's death.
And where does the investigation or investigators really go from here? They know the identity of the victim. The cause of death right now is listed as deferred, but what happens next?
Well, the most important piece of evidence is the body. The body tells the entire story. Mm-hmm. So, as I understand it from social media, that the medical examiner has not finished their investigation. And then the next step of that would be obviously the toxicology reports, which take a couple of days to a couple of weeks to get back. And then that's going to point the investigators in the direction of where to take their next steps, as well as the search of the interior of the compartment that she was found in and the passenger compartment. Because if there was any blood or any signs of foul play or violence, then that obviously points into a direction that they need to go.
And what's going to be more important to the investigation, finding out what happened inside that car, if anything happened inside that car, or the forensic evidence in the car, or is it going to be finding where the scene of the crime actually took place and kind of working backwards really from there?
Well, working backwards is from the body, and the body will start is basically points all the directional arrows, so to speak, on where to go, and then from there, obviously, they go and do a forensic analysis of that car, and then, like I said, the most important piece of that car is that onboard computer, which has so much information that even Tesla owners don't know what the extent of the information that car has on it, and I'm fairly confident that the owner of the car wasn't sophisticated enough to know how to wipe or to get rid of that information that's on that car.
Does it change anything? You know, we know the Tesla car is like kind of like a smart car. And even though I'm not as technologically savvy as you are, Colin, I'm interested in knowing, does it change anything in terms of the investigation because the car was towed over into that impound lot? Does that change anything in terms of the data that might be on that car or anything like that?
No, I mean, when the car is on, it's gathering thousands and thousands and thousands of data points. Now, it was off, basically, we can presume that it was on up until the time it was towed. So they know where it was when it was towed to that. So the tow part isn't really mean anything other than chain of custody. So from the time that it was sitting there or towed back 24, 48, or even 2 weeks, they're going to be able to know exactly where that car was, whether it was an accident. There's even cameras, interior and exterior, that are taking footage. So they're going to end up likely knowing who was in the car prior to it being disposed of.
And say, you know, because we know that this is also, again, a very big story because it kind of surrounds the singer David because the car was registered to him. But say investigators learned, you know, he has been cooperating with the investigation. Again, he hasn't been named as a suspect or anything like that. But say investigators learned that he was out on tour, or he was at an event or something. He has an alibi for the time frame that they believe the murder took place. What happens next in terms of how they find possibly who might else be involved in this?
Well, they're also going to find her phone. Possibly, they didn't say whether the phone was on her or not. And then the phone obviously is, especially for a 15-year-old, her whole life is in that phone. So they're going to be able to establish her circle of friends and start interviewing all of those people, as well as interviewing all the people around this rapper to see this music artist, to see if they know anything and they know what exactly happened. I mean, the bottom line is you don't crawl into a car and close the hood. You know, somebody had to have put her in that car, whether she was alive or dead when it happened. That will be something that the investigators will definitely find out. And I believe it happened in the LAPD territory. Correct. And they're considered the best homicide investigators in the world. So I have absolute certainty that they're going to determine who did this or what happened.
And even that whole other aspect, because again, we're just learning this information pretty much today, is that she was reported missing about a year ago. How important is that time frame of when she was missing and how long of a period that was? How will that kind of play into her death investigation?
Well, I think that's important that the family lost track of her a year ago, but it still comes right back to that car and what was going on in the car prior to the tow truck picking it up, and then being able to establish the timeline. So in any investigation or violent crime investigation, the timeline is the most important. So they're going to have a timeline starting from when the car was found or when it was reported, and they'll go back 24, 48, or even 2 weeks, and they'll be able to identify every place that car was and likely where she was. And that'll be, with that, they'll be able to fill in the blanks and then to identify who was involved in her death. Now, she may have not been killed. She may have died of a drug overdose and somebody put her in the car. Either way, somebody's responsible for her being in that vehicle.
Yeah, and I'm sure investigators and even her family are trying to find out what happened to her, if they can gather any type of details to figure out what all had happened. Colin, I want to thank you so much for your time and your insight into this case. I did have one final question for you. In terms of investigating a case like this where you have very little to go off of, how different is it to investigate a case like this now in 2025 where you have surveillance cameras, you have smart cars that gather all this technology and information as opposed to maybe like 20 years ago where we didn't have all this technology readily available like we do now?
Well, I think it kind of on its face, it appears cognitively that it should be easier, But in fact, it's actually harder because the investigators are just overloaded with data and information. And at some point, AI will probably be taking a role in these kind of investigations to sift through the mountains of data that these investigators receive from their court orders to Tesla or to the iPhone or wherever, to kind of be able to filter out all the noise and be able to get to the point. 20 years ago, it was a matter of just going and interviewing people and getting their story. Now it's a whole different story with all these data points that investigators have to sift through.
And so with that being said, do you see that there might be a possibly end in sight in terms of the investigation anytime soon, or do you think that this might be a very long investigation?
Well, based upon it was in a Tesla, I would speculate that it's not going to be long. If it was in like a Mustang from the 60s that has no onboard computing ability, it would be kind of a different story. But like I said, that Tesla has so much data in it, and there's so many tools out there that will aid the investigators on getting through that data. I expect that they likely will quickly know exactly what happened to that girl.
I'm sure, and I hope that they find out soon what happened to her, because it's just devastating overall, just how horrible this case truly is. Again, Colin Schmidt, thank you so much for your time and insight into this case. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Investigators are still working to find Celeste's cause of death, but LAPD says they are investigating the case as a homicide. Again, David is not being publicly named as a suspect at the time of this reporting. Thanks so much for joining us here on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner.